When William Holden died earlier this month, a rather horrible death, while intoxicated he evidently slipped and fell, cut his head deeply, and literally bled to death in his apartment. I recalled my weekend spent with him just a few months ago. Bill Holden was always one of my favorite actors, going back 30-plus years. He portrayed men, it seemed to me, most of us American males always want to be: brave, strong, quiet, and popular with the females in his life, the all-American ideal. And so I was pleasantly surprised to find him, after finally meeting him, to be just like his roles on screen: friendly, easy to be with, a good listener as well as talker, and, with apologies to the women in the audience, what we call the complete man's man. He will be with us, of course, for as long as his many movies run, but I wanted to share with you perhaps one of his last interviews he ever gave, so that you could see, as I did, the real Bill Holden. We'll miss him. Now, if you were sitting with Bill Holden, what would you ask him? There's so many things coming to mind, Bill. I want to talk about the business, for example. I think of all the movies you've made, really excellent movies. You have reached, God, hundreds of millions of people in your career. Do you look back upon that as something that you carry around as a responsibility, the image you have in the millions of people's minds as to what Bill Holden is? And maybe it isn't really you.
I'm sorry you brought that up, because I hadn't thought about it before.
Well, think about that. I mean,
well, that takes hours and hours. No, I don't think most actors think about that with respect to their work, or they think about the project, or what the picture, whether it was good or bad, or in some cases what it might contribute to a better understanding between people. And I know audiences have been influenced by. I remember Clark Gable did a picture. It happened one night with Claudette Colbert years ago, comedy, and he did not wear a BVD undershirt, and suddenly all the men in the country took their undershirts off. Nobody was wearing an undershirt anymore.
Well, you in Picnic, when you took off your shirt in Picnic, I don't know what you didn't have an undershirt, but it must have done something for working out. I remember what a great build you had, and I thought you must work out a lot to develop a good physique.
No, I think that in that respect, one's early training and kind of whatever you were involved with, athletic, has something to do with it.
Well, I just think of when I meet someone like you, who really, I don't want to make it sound like you're getting ready to die, but you are an institution in movies. I mean, you did and have developed a persona which is really vivid, to say the least, that it might kind of be a burden to carry around, because what you really are as a person is like all of us. You have your likes, dislikes, you have a character, a personality, which may not be like we see you in the movies and the parts you play.
Oh, I don't know how far removed things can be. I mean, one is limited to, your physical appearance and all that. I know that I do not think like a lot of characters I portrayed.
Indeed.
Because I'm not really related to them. You get a character like Sefton in Stalag 17, who was an opportunist and all that. That is not like me at all. But it was an interesting character.
Yeah.
I remember once I was doing a film with Billy Wilder called Sabrina, and I was playing a wealthy sort of playboy.
Sure.
And my wife said to me, "Oh, I'll be so glad when this picture's over." And I said, "Why?" And she said, "Because you're acting like a playboy. And you're spending all your money, and you bought a sports car." And I said, "Oh, God, I hadn't realized that character had influenced me enough to go ahead and do some things."
Yeah. No, but you've always had wonderful roles. I mean, but you've always had a persona that was substantive, always decent. Even in Stalag 17, he was kind of a misunderstood guy, and he emerged in the end as being...
the end, the last act.
As a matter of fact, you've never really been a thorough villain at all, have you? From the beginning through the end? You've never ended up people going out hating Bill Holden?
Oh, gee, I don't know. I've worked in a couple of pictures where I played villains, and they didn't do well, so...
You always had a hard
I guess no one ever saw them.
Did you always want to be an actor when you were a young guy? And
I guess I did, yes. I wouldn't have bothered with little theater at night and a cappella choir and all of that kind of thing unless I had that interest too. Yeah. Not only that, in the days when I was going to school and being sort of the product of the Depression, one looked forward to a career that you could get paid well.
Indeed.
I mean, and I didn't own a gold mine or an oil well, so what else was there? You had to be an actor.
And you were raised out here?
That's right.
Pasadena?
Yeah.
So it was natural. You're a company town in those
Yeah, but
days,
there's close association. Years ago in Arcadia, which is near Pasadena, Columbia Pictures used to use Ross Field, an Army Air Force field, Army Corps field, and I used to go out when I was a kid, and as an extra, just as crowd, I remember a couple of times I went out, and we weren't paid anything, but we were given a sandwich and a glass of milk at noon. What a big deal.
That's right.
Marvelous.
Yeah.
Stand around and be background, and then, so I think it was 1927 was the first time that there was a Jack Holt, Ralph Graves picture called The Pierce Expedition to the South Pole or something like that. And I was an extra. I was one of the cheering crowd as they took off.
Really?
Yeah.
So that started. Do you think you were lucky? How do you look upon the success you've had? Obviously, you worked hard and you have a talent, but there are, I'm sure, other people who've worked hard and have good talents who never got anything worthwhile. And they're
well, that's quite true.
It's
actually gets down to being in the right place at the right time and being fortunate enough or lucky enough to put it all together.
Yeah.
The only thing about talent over that chance, that opportunity that comes along, is that when the opportunity comes along, you have to be prepared to meet it.
Indeed.
And work hard and apply yourself to take advantage of the fact that somebody did not.
Your latest movie is, I think, a withering, devastating look at Hollywood as an industry and as a company town. And you have a line in the movie in which you say, and I think I've got this right, but you say that nobody in this town has a conscience. Now, I don't want to make a movie larger than life and portrays it everything that is, but we do hear a lot about the fact that Hollywood is a venal place, that the business of making movies is nasty business. Is it?
Well, I think the business of making automobiles is a nasty business, too. And I think that if you look at some of the oil companies and the profits they've made, that becomes a nasty business, too. All business is, because of our democratic procedures, is competitive.
Yeah.
And wherever you've got competition, you're going to have people that are trying to outdo the others.
But you would be a good guy to ask, because you've been here for 30-plus years, and you've been a leader in the business. Can you say that you have not met a lot of people who were true to their word, who their handshake was valid, who followed through? You know, we get this impression of a terrible place here.
No, that is not true. I was represented by an agent and people in that agency for 38 years, and I never had a contract with them.
Really?
I shook hands.
Really?
I have made films where the contracts have never been drawn up until after the film was completed. I mean, you shake someone's hand, you say, I'm going to live up to this, the responsibility and the obligation of it, and you do it. And then, in turn, they do it too. I mean,
Yeah.
they're just as responsible. No, that is not true about Hollywood, because your word is a bond.